Things just took a shocking turn for the St. Louis Blues as heading into game one with Jim Montgomery making surprising changes to the lineup. Things look even different for the St. Louis Blues heading into a huge season that have fans fired up. But we also get a quote from Doug Armstrong on a recent player lost on waivers, giving a lot of details on the situation. We're going to break down all this and so much more in this episode. But before we get into that, Darius, I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone watching. We're trying to reach our goal of 4,500 subscribers before the season starts, just 2 days away, maybe even one, depending when you're watching this. So make sure to go down and hit that free subscribe button. It would mean the world, and in return, we'll give you daily updates from all around the St. Louis Blues. But with that, Darius, let's dive straight into this today, where we've seen a lot of line combinations going through the preseason. We almost thought it was cemented, but things do change a bit. Now, we get some reports coming through that Schenn is going to be on the second line with Holloway and Kyrou, and Suter going down with Joseph and Neighbors. Now, there's a lot to like about this, and we get some quotes from Jim Montgomery, and I mean, diving further into it, Jim Montgomery said, as of today, Neighbors, Suter, and Joseph was the best line at practice 5-on-5, and I kind of wanted to dive in to this line specifically as it's almost a new look line. But what is your initial thoughts on this third line looking like the best?
Well, it is a new look third line for the St. Louis Blues because over the last couple of days and I guess week at this point, week and a half, we thought that all signs were pointing to Suter playing on the second line. And not only that, because of Sundqvist's injury, we now have Nathan Walker as the fourth line center. So things have changed up a little bit here. I kind of like this third line. And again, we don't have insight into, practice in terms of what they look like or certain areas of the game that they looked really good, besides the fact that Jim Montgomery said, hey, they look pretty good and they look good 5-on-5. But I do trust Jim Montgomery. He's a great coach. And I think that you're always looking for synergy for one line, right? You're looking for that chemistry from one line. And we know this is not necessarily a bad thing, but we've been talking about over the course of the last week and a half how good Suter looked on that second line, how much speed and skill was going to be there. But we know from last season, we broke it down in previous videos. If you look at all the advanced analytics, that second line with Schenn up there with Holloway and Kyrou is great anyway. They're going to be a great second line anyway, and they're going to be able to put up a lot of points. And we know what Schenn brings to the table in terms of physicality and, how responsible he is on the defensive side of the puck and all of those things too, playing with two younger-ish guys, obviously Holloway a lot younger than Kyrou. But, I think that there's still going to be a great line. You have a great third line going to Suter, for, no pun intended, is a Swiss Army knife of sorts, as we've been talking about on the channel. And he's going to be able to put up points on that third line as well. So don't hate the move at all. And obviously one injury can throw your team into a loop. That's for sure. We see that across the league right now. So, don't mind the move. And I think that the Blues are going to be just fine, no matter how many different line combinations they throw together. I think they're going to be fine at this point. The season is only just starting. So it should be a lot of fun, but interesting development. That's for sure. Because again, for the last week and a half or so, they've been running it a certain way. And one injury kind of just threw everything out the door, and they're trying different things, but I think it's going to work out fine. We know that second line is going to be good.
And I mean, we get an update on Bjugstad. We're going to cover that in a moment. But the biggest thing is, and we kind of talked about this too, we know how good that second line that's projected to go into game one has been in the previous season. Suter showed that he works there. So the big thing is now Jim Montgomery has the option that if he wants to move Pius Suter up into that line, he knows it works. He knows this is the line that can go out. And listen, if he came out and said, hey, this line looked terrible, then yes, you put Suter right back. But I think the biggest thing is you have Pius Suter who can score you goals, great defensively. He has great work ethic, playing next to a speedy winger that has surprised a lot of fans. We thought this was a trade chip that they were going to move out, and playing against once again a young star in Jake Neighbors, looking to have a huge year, building on his playmaking, getting his goal scoring going. This line is going to be perfect. I love it. It's going to give hell to other teams when they put their third line out and have to play the three-headed beast that we have down here. But injuries have occurred on this team. We've seen it with teams all around, but Nick Bjugstad is going out, and right now he was just away because he was sick. Jim Montgomery said he didn't want him near this team at the moment, so he would get someone else sick. That would rapidly make it so the entire Springfield team would have to be called up. But the big thing with the Blues, they're going in with a vengeance. They have a great lineup, and overall, Darius, I think getting Nick Bjugstad back for hopefully game one, depending on how long he's going to be sick for, is going to add a lot to the team. We'll probably see Nathan Walker slide to the wing, Bjugstad, fourth line center. But what is your thoughts on Nick Bjugstad joining the team? A bit of a down year last year with Utah. The year previous, he was outstanding with Arizona, same club, just different cities. What is your initial thoughts on just injecting him to another scoring piece into the fourth line?
It's pretty interesting the lines that we were seeing in practice today, because the third line being the way it is and Sunkfist being out with injury, like I mentioned, it then forces Nathan Walker to play fourth line center. I don't know if he's going to stay there. We'll see how long this illness lasts for Nick Bjugstad. But if he does come back, like you just said, you know, Walker is going to move to the wing. I imagine maybe Texier is going to come out of the lineup. I would imagine that's what they would do. But anyway, Walker would move to the wing. Then you have Bjugstad down the middle. And that's, you know, a great lineup in that way. But again, we don't know if he's going to start the season. We don't know what type of illness it is. He is sick. So that'll be interesting. But he's going to be a great player for this team, right? Even in that role, we know that he can put up points. Again, his career high isn't anything crazy, and he was playing in an elevated role. But on the Blues, he's going to play a specific role. He's a big body that can hit. And like you just mentioned, they have the three-headed monster in terms of lines, that their line's going to be buzzing around, creating some stuff too. We know how good those top two lines are going to be, the top six of this team in terms of offensive output. Not only that, you run those three lines, and then you're running out a fourth line that's just going to throw you through the boards, right? Throw you right through the glass. You have size, you have speed, you have tenacity, all of those things. And then you have Texier waiting in the wings. Again, I'm just assuming that Texier is going to be the odd man out from everything that we've seen so far. But I think it's a great combination, but we're also, you know, patiently awaiting another update in terms of how long Sunkfist will be out, because he's going to be a big part of this team too, another big body who can play physical as well. And it has just been a big part of this team for so many years at this point. So you like to see him back, but yeah, I think they're going to be great. And I wonder, you know, what the timeline is for Bjugstad, because that could make things interesting for the first game of the year. It would give Texier that opportunity to play. And then if you're looking at, you know, the fourth line center, Walker, I would rather have him on the wing. So that's going to be a storyline if that kind of bleeds over till Thursday. So we'll see what happens, but liking what I'm seeing so far. And if Bjugstad slots in, I'm happy with this lineup the way it is. Obviously, you hope Sunkfist comes back and he's healthy, but I like what they're rolling with.
And I mean, the big thing with Bjugstad too, a big body, 6'7", 6'6", whatever he might be, getting him into this lineup is going to be huge. No pun intended on that, of course. But the biggest thing is we're seeing a lot of changes with the team. Doug Armstrong spoke on the recent waiver claim. He said that Colton Ellis was a surprising claim, only because he didn't have an NHL resume. He progressed very well. When I called him yesterday, I said, I'm really happy for you, and also really disappointed for the organization. The biggest thing with Colton Ellis, and listen, we don't want to harp on this too much, getting him in this organization was awesome, but there was no clear picture for him to get into a backup role, a starting role. We have the two goaltenders in Jordan Binnington and Hofer. These guys are going to come in and light or stay not getting lit up every single night. But the big thing is, and what you love to see, listen, we don't care about the Buffalo Sabres, but Colton Ellis did make their starting lineup going through. Georgiev was waived, so he's going to get a chance to make it into NHL action. Maybe when they get healthy, their goaltenders come back. Maybe the Blues claim them again. But overall, Blues fans, what is your thoughts on everything? What is your thoughts on the lines going in? What do you think of the score is going to be? Who do you think is going to be the biggest dark horse going into the season? Let us know your comments down below. And speaking on comments, go straight into comment of the day. And Darius, I'll let you take this away to give you your experience.
Yeah, I mean, not to brag, Mark, but I was, you know, GM of the year in NHL 15 GM mode, right? St. Louis Blues. I won the Stanley Cup in NHL 15 before the St. Louis Blues actually won the Stanley Cup in 2019. Game-winning goal in overtime to win the Cup, Yuri Laterra, Blues legend. So that is my experience as a general manager. Easy mode. It was on easy mode.
But let us know down below, who's your favorite random blue? Is it Yuri Laterra? Is it someone else? Let us know all your thoughts down in the comment. You could be comments of the day. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back another episode. I Can't Be Serious right here. I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Darius, and take care, Blues fans.